it's iRacing commentator David Haynes. In 2019, I'm excited to be bringing coverage of the ChampCar Sim Series, the sim racing division of the ChampCar Endurance Series. Contested across 15 championship rounds using the 2015 Mazda MX-5, the winners will receive a free entry into a real ChampCar Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Each points round will be broadcast live by HJBC. Head to forum.champcar.org for full information and schedule. Sign-ups are open, so get registered now. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the track. Hello and welcome to Round 3, 2019 ChampCar Sim Series, coming at you from VIR South Course. Once again, another great great points round we're going to bring you coverage of here on HJBC. And well, I'm David Haynes. Joining me is Aaron Thacker, our production man. It's Michael Derby. And Aaron, 3 races now in this series. We're getting closer to having a picture of who might take the grand prize in this series.
We really are, and David, as you kind of pointed out here, every single race counts as these guys are working toward a fantastic prize this season. David, we have ourselves a 23-car grid tonight, so another very packed house for a full 1-hour race here at VIR South with a very exciting grid of some Mazdas tonight.
Yep. Indeed. 23 cars on the grid, as you said. Qualifying underway right now. The 1-hour qualifying session just starting to wrap up. And then we get into our 1-hour race with a required pit stop because of the fixed setup, starting with just 4.2 gallons of fuel. That'll take most of our drivers probably 40 minutes or so into this 1-hour race, so pretty wide pit window for that as well. What we'll take the opportunity to do right now is give you the lovely track guide that's prepared for us by Alex Coffard and Andrew Fawcett.
Hello and welcome to round 3 of the ChampCar Sim Series hosted here on iRacing. This week we find ourselves in beautiful Alton, Virginia at the Virginia International Raceway. Today we're going to be using the South Course. It's a smaller layout to the full course, and it's going to provide some unique challenges to our drivers. Turn 1 is going to be the best opportunity for overtaking tonight, but you need to be very patient on the throttle as this corner seems to last forever. This leads us to the complex of corners 4, 5, and 6. It's a very steep drop-off and has semblance to the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. The entry and turn-in are blind, and you might miss it, and if you do, you're probably going to go off track. This might be a trouble spot for some of our drivers tonight. Turn 6 is between gears, so it's kind of an awkward corner. We might see drivers struggle here too. Fishhook is the right-hand hairpin that takes us back onto the main circuit. Be sure to find the right turn-in point here, as if you don't, it's easy to clip the grass to the left and lose quite a bit of time. Unfortunately, we only get to use the top half of the S's here, but that leads us to the kink. Normally a pretty tricky corner when we're running the full layout, it's easy flat here. Down the hill we go to what is probably VIR's most famous corner, Oak Tree. Although the tree isn't there now, it's a decreasing radius corner, and finding the apex can be a bit tricky. This leads on to the long front straight, so getting it right is great for a passing opportunity. The keys to the race tonight: managing traffic. This is a very tight track, and the infield section doesn't lead a lot of opportunities for passing. Consider taking your pit stop in order to avoid traffic. Good luck to the racers and enjoy the broadcast.
Well, there you have it. It's a shorter circuit layout. It's a narrower circuit than potentially the 2 rounds we've been at before today. But I think it's not going to be short of excitement, which is what we're after. This is what we're here for. Maybe not the drivers. They're after a clean, safe race. We, as spectators, like a little bit of adrenaline. So here is, after 2 rounds, what your point standings look like in this championship. John D. Allen has swept the season so far. 2 wins from 2 puts him on 100 points. Equal second is Tom Ellison and Alex Albert. And in 4th place, on 73 points is Alex Coffard. So from where the standings are now, from what qualifying's looking like, John D. Allen's not on pole position right now, but who we will have a look at is Alex Coffard, and he's qualifying right now, Aaron.
Yeah, he is. He's put himself in a pretty good position right now. He's currently in P3 with a 1:19.649. Just a few tenths off Alex Albert's current pole time of 1:18.535. So very, very tight on here. And I think with this track, you are going to get some drafting opportunities. So that 10th doesn't mean a whole lot, but that means that Alex Albert is super quick. And I'm checking some times, and Alex Albert appears to have just gone purple in Sector 1. So Alex Albert is potentially looking to improve his pole time.
Yeah, partly cloudy conditions out there right now, so any little bit of cloud cover would cool the track temperatures a little bit in this 1 hour session. Could definitely see some times change later in the race. Not seeing a whole lot of cloud cover right now, but certainly the dynamic weather in effect can change through qualifying, and it can also change through the race.
Yeah, it definitely can change in this race, and David, right now these guys have got a very lovely 78 degrees, but my goodness, it's a bit of a warm track right now at 98 degrees, and so I think we're going to see that rise just a bit as these guys continue to lap over this 1 hour session, and we have just a little over 1 minute left. And David, I don't want to say, but it looks like our grid may be set here. I'm really watching Tom Ellison, our current number 2 in points. He's way down the field in P9. Tom Ellison is not having a good round of qualifying right now. He's going to have some work to do in order to maintain his very challenging point gap to John D. Allen. So let's keep an eye on Thomas Ellison tonight, because he may have some pretty big work to do in front of him.
Yep, we started this season at Road Atlanta. That's a circuit a lot of people know well. Then we went to Sonoma. That's one that people know, but maybe not quite as popular. And here, VIR South, well, this is a layout that, outside of ChampCar, not many people think about, not many people race. So certainly, want to separate the diehards from the blow-ins compared to the first 2 rounds. VIR South definitely has mixed up the order from what we've seen in the first 2 races, at least in qualifying. 10 seconds left of qualifying, and then we'll have a look at your grid and see exactly how jumbled it is compared to our expectations. Checkered flag comes out now. All the drivers who are on a lap will have the opportunity to finish it. Alex Albert, for example, crossing that finish line now. A few other drivers out there, like I'm seeing John Hurley, John D. Allen, of course, and Benjamin Shout, Chris Nicely. A lot of names that we've seen in the first 2 rounds back again.
Yeah, David, the timing screen is starting to light up here. It looks like everybody has pretty much completed all laps that are possible. Looks like Coffard and Fawcett, nope, they're all in the pits. John D. Allen still on track out there. David, looks like a few guys trying to squeak in a few more seconds off their current time. Looks like John D. Allen is the only car that potentially could improve. Andrew Pettit, P12, Justin Hall, P13, Chris Knightley in P15. But David, I think this grid is going to be set for us.
Yep, I would agree with that assessment. So let's have a look at our starting grid now then. On pole, Alex Albert. Second place is Bradley Daly. Third is Alex Coffard. Then 4th, Andrew Fawcett. 5th place is Brian Cheney. 6th, Ross Banfield. 7th is John D. Allen, your points leader. 8th place, John Hurley. 9th, Tom Ellison. Equals 2nd place with Alex Albert on 78 points. So now there's a difference between those drivers. And 10th place is David Evans.
Yeah, and just outside of that, in P11, we have Benjamin Schott, P12, Chris Nicely, P13, Andy Pettit, P14 Justin Hall, David Henry in P15, Nicholas Love P16, Will Robbins P17, Tyler James P18, Andrew Shimry P19, and rounding out our top 20 is Corey Brown, Jacob Bean in P21, John Sirota in P22, and no qualifying time from Scott Gremmel in P23. David, it looks like these guys are getting ready to grid now.
Yeah, no qualifying time doesn't mean you can't take the race start in this series. So if he's still around, if he's at the circuit, if his car's working, he can take this race start, be a rolling start behind the safety car there. They'll do one lap of the circuit, and then pace car will peel in, will get a green flag, and it will be Alex Albert who leads the field to that green flag. A minute and a quarter left for these guys to grid.
Yeah, just a minute, David. And Alex Albert does have the pole. I mean, by a very strong 2/10 margin. But these guys are the top. The top six are separated by no less than 3/10. So, as we said, this straightaway that these guys are all gridding on here, there's a massive drafting opportunity for these guys, and that first corner down here is going to be a fantastic opportunity for this with these guys running a huge draft. So, I think we're going to see a lot of really good, moves on this big stretch, and some really possibly risky moves coming down into turn one. So plenty of opportunity for everybody. And just as you mentioned, David, just because you're starting in the back, you keep that draft, you're going to remain competitive. And we're talking about you, Scott Grinnell. You got a chance, sir.
Yep, I'm having a quick look, see if he is going to take the start. Don't know, but regardless, 20 cars is still a lot for this layout. Narrow, unsighted corners, and significantly shorter than the circuits we've been at so far. Traffic over the 1 hour could also play in for the leaders. Pace car will now begin to pull away. We get inches closer towards our race start.
David, I'm trying to decide who I've got my money on tonight. Obviously, our points leader, John D. Allen, starting a bit down the grid before we are used to seeing him. But that P7 position is going to be opportunistic for him coming into this first corner, as he will have the preferred line here. But Andrew Fawcett, he is a very quick driver. He is a team member of the HJ Motorsports group, and he is very quick, as well as Andrew Crawford. Alex Carver and Andrew Carver. David, I'm going to butcher that more than one time tonight, but both these guys are HJ Motorsport drivers, both very quick. So, but Bradley Daly, let's not forget about that. He has got himself in a very good position to challenge Alex Albert here on this very first lap. So, David, these guys are running through this lap here, and I'm real excited to see what these guys do tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I can have my eyes on that sort of turn 4, 5, 6 complex. Unsighted, a lot of elevation change. Potentially an overtaking place if your competitors made a mistake out of turn 1. Be a lot going on through there, I expect. Also very easy to pick up some understeer in this car at that corner. So our eyes will be there, and our eyes will be on our race leader, Alex Albert, right now. As he's coming towards Oak Tree Bend, the final corner of this lap, of this configuration. We'll be getting green very, very soon.
Anxious to see what sort of strategy Alex Albert is going to take over Bradley Daly here. We are watching the pace car slowly approach the pit lane, and Alex Albert rushing up, and they are live, David. It looks like Alex Albert is going for it. Here we go, Bradley Daly with a very good start. He's going to be right on Alex Albert. I think he's going to play it safe on the outside here for turn 1, but these guys are away.
And Albert flooring it just about out of the final corner. All clean through the back. He has to defend the inside line into turn 1. Bradley Daly's going to try and come back at him there. Too wide in the background there. Brian Cheney and Ross Banfield potentially. Alex Albert still having to defend for his race lead. Bradley Daly is right there as they approach this difficult set of corners for the first time on the first lap. Still looks all clean for the race start up the front of the field, which is what we like to see. An hour-long race, there's no point ruining it in the first lap.
No, and these guys have really kept their nose clean on the first lap. And I'm watching for positions. David, our man in the back there, Scott Gurnall, he's already up 4 positions up to P19 on that very first lap. So he did grid tonight, and he is looking for those opportunities to continue to move some spots. So kudos to Scott Gurnall. Also, Nicholas Love, starting P16s up to P14, already moving up as well. But our top 3 or so. Oh, Alex Albert has had an issue, David. He's dropping down my leaderboard here.
Yeah, me too. I'm not 100% sure what was happening. I had my eyes elsewhere on John Allen moving up through the field. Maybe get some grass. We'll get a replay of what happened.
Yeah, it was right out of Oak Tree, and I think that's not the only time we're going to see that issue for Alex Albert. Just went a little bit wide. Fantastic save of the car, probably full counter steer lock, but great save. But my goodness, he lost a whole handful of positions there. He is back down to P4, just 5 minutes into this race.
And also a problem for John Allen, who is moving up the standings. Is moving up all of those positions, your championship leader, and he's gone and also gotten himself into some trouble early goings.
Yeah, I'm watching that replay right now, and yeah, David, these guys are just having a whole slew of issues. It looks like trying to find out what car number 77. It looks like Ross Banfield just unfortunately got into the right rear of John D. Allen, sending him around. John D. Allen took a very wide line. I think Ross Banfield saw an opportunity there, and he may have chopped his nose off just a little bit. I call it a racing incident, but that is unfortunate for John D. Allen very early on in this race.
Yeah, he'll recover, he'll persevere, but not a good race start for him. So as it is right now, your leader is Alex Coffard. Bradley Daly still holds on to second place. Third is Andrew Fawcett. Alex Albert's now the fastest car out there. He's sort of 118.9. First lap in the 118, so he's going to try and work his way back to the lead.
And David, we do have some pitters. John D. Allen is in the pits, and unfortunately, he has also overshot his pit box. So he has taken himself a fast repair. The car is repaired, probably feeling up, but my goodness, John D. Allen, this race is just not working in his favor just so early on. Like I said, overshot his pit box here and was able to safely back up and avoid any sort of a DQ. But he's got him and David, is that Justin Hall behind him as well? So 2 cars already in.
Battle for the lead is getting spicy. Alex Albert's moved himself up into third. Now he's moving himself up into second. Door to door with Bradley Daly. And Alex is letting Alex Coffard get away just a little bit, but those top 4 were all within a second. They're now 2 wide in the back half of the lap here. That, again, is also costing them time, but it gives Alex Albert the inside for Oak Tree, and I think Bradley Daly realizes the amount of time they were both losing and lets him have it. So it's now Coffard. Alex Albert has gotten himself back into second. Bradley Daly's dropped down to third. Andrew Fawcett is where he started in 4th position. In 5th, Brian Cheney is a little bit out by himself. And then 7th, 8th, and 9th is also a battle. This is proving to be very, very close in our field around this circuit.
The battle for P7, P8, and P9, Ross Banfield, David Evans, and Benjamin Schott. Both these guys are some pretty good movers in this race, each of them gaining at least 2 positions from their original starting position. And I really did not see a big pull. I was really expecting Benjamin Schott to get a much more favorable run on David Evans in that straight section there. He really did not. So he may be playing a little conservative early on. Yes, we are only 5 minutes in. Oh, and we see him go just a little bit wide and a big dive from Nicholas Love there. But I think these guys are settling in now. They realize that this is an hour-long race, and maybe it's time to start considering some strategy. My goodness, Nicholas Love is really, John Pettit is really making some moves on Benjamin Schott here.
Yeah, indeed. So all very closely stacked all through the field, and there's another battle as well for 12th place. And my goodness, I don't know where to look right now in the early goings.
Yeah, these guys are really all over the place. You've got battles to pick from, and it looks like, David, let's go back up to the front here. It looks like Coffard, Albert, Fawcett, and Daly. These guys are all back within about 6/10 of each other.
Yeah, Albert challenging for the lead. He's on the inside of Alex Coffard going into turn 1. Coffard breaks a bit deeper around the outside, and I feel like maybe let him go. He's going to try and come back at him on the exit of turn 1. Albert holds the left-hand side, gives him nowhere to go there. And from 4th place, Albert has worked his way back to the lead. Bradley Daly ran off the track earlier. That let Andrew force it back up into 3rd place. Now Brian Cheney, he's a quick racer, is trying to hunt them down as well. All action in your top 4.
Definitely was a very impressive move by Alex Albert and a very strong drive. But Alex Coffert, I think, yeah, as you said, David, I think he let him go by, but he also let him know that, hey, that was a pretty good pass. I'm not going to let you get too far, as I think he gave him a bit of a bump coming out of turn 1, just to remind him that he may have been a little bit more generous on allowing that pass to go by. And I'm going to keep my eye on Alex Albert. He still appears a bit twitchy approaching Oak Tree. He needs to make sure he shores up that line throughout that race. He really doesn't want to continue any more incidents throughout this race, but right now he's looking to try and put himself a gap on Alex Coffert, but that's not going to happen on the straightaway here, David. And it looks like
contact back in the field between Benjamin Shout and Andy Petit. Probably have a look at that one on the exit of Oak Tree just now.
Yeah, watching, he just takes a bit of a different line, and oh my goodness, he just kind of chopped the nose. Benjamin Shout just got a bit of the nose there, and I think they both just kind of ran out of track. And Andy Pettit is back on track. I don't think he has any considerable damage, but that was, again, I want to call it a racing incident, but they both kind of pinched each other and maybe been not quite aware of how much track they had left. But it looks like everybody's okay and still running, David.
Yeah. To my mind, Andy Pettit throwing it to the inside and then tracking it out when he wasn't completely clear. But talking about the pit strategy, we've had a couple more cars come on down the pit lane. Tom Ellison just doing so, and Justin Hall also done it. So, see, that's an interesting battle that they've then formed for what's 19th place, but after other pit stops, might shake out to be a little bit higher.
I think so too. Let's take our eyes back up on Alex Albert and Alex Coffert. Coffert has worked his way up very close, and I'll keep an eye on the battle between Andrew Fawcett and Bradley Daly. Almost of equal distance. Both these guys have a very good draft. It looks like Coffert is going to remain in line behind Alex Albert and make no move. Bradley Daly is going to do the exact same with Andrew Fawcett. So everybody stays in line here, but this 2x2 for these top 4 positions, very, very competitive. But Alex Coffert's starting to look a bit hungry. I'm not entirely sure if he's got on Alex at this point in the race, but he's letting him know that he's not going to let him pull away.
Yeah, indeed, and it's all closed up a little bit further. So now your top 4 within 2 seconds. Battles all down through the field. And with not even 10 minutes in the books, it won't be long before our top 4 start to encounter some of the other cars, start to encounter some traffic, and maybe even from drivers who pit earlier than them.
Yeah, I think we're going to experience that as well, and I think that's really where Coffert is going to really need to eyeball his opportunities with Alex Albert, especially with some of these big drafting areas where, again, that turn when we keep mentioning that. But David, let's take a quick look down, and it looks like P12, P13, John Sirota and Will Robbins are battling as well, and Mike.
Yeah, just an accident between Scott Grinnell and Jacob Beenan that's happened. So they're dropping down the timing screen, and we'll have a look at what happened to them.
Oh, David, that's a big one. That is a 3-car incident right there, and unfortunately, the big loser there is John Bean, who ended up on his roof, and that is very unfortunate. Looks like yeah, he got pushed back over, but very respectful driving by Scott Grinnell. So, David, unfortunately, our kind of booth champion we're all rooting for here, Scott Grinnell, has experienced some issues here in the race, and I don't know how many more positions he's going to gain driving like that. So, hopefully, he can get back into the fast repair and get that car back in good driving shape.
Yep, you'd certainly hope so. So, continuing to have a look. The battle up the front. This is the most gap Alex Albert has had in quite some time.
David, I hate to interrupt. Bradley Daly just cooked the engine. He overshifted. I saw the car explode. Bradley Daly is now coasting into the pits. He launched it going into Oak Tree, David.
Wow, big issues early on then for what was our second place grid sitter, man. So he's very lucky that he'll get away with that one without too much pain. Straight into the pit lane, and then fast repair. He's going to use that one, take his fuel, and if he's lucky, get away without losing too much time from that. But then he's got 48 more minutes to not do that again.
I don't want to say that there's a strategic way you want to blow your engine, but if there is such a way, Bradley Daly very strategically blew his engine where he was in an area of the track where he could coast to the corner, then coast down the hill and go right into his pit lane. But my goodness, that was just a very rare incident with these Mazda engines where we talk about all the time how these things are darn near bulletproof. But David, he must have really wrapped one up in order to pop an engine like that so early on in this race. And right now he has found himself with a whole mess of traffic here by Tom Ellison and John D. Allen.
I can only imagine that maybe just pulled second gear way too early through that corner. It's the only thing that can come to mind of how you might damage it as much. And Alex Coffard has just come into the pit lane, or has he got problems?
David, I'm checking right now. Yeah, Alex Albert on track. He is all by himself. So maybe, no, it does not appear. David, I am scanning my screen as well. I'm trying to figure out what happened here. Alex Albert is still showing up in P1 on my screen, but what has gone on here?
I don't know. Coffard's just pulled over to the side of the road, lifted out of the throttle, and then got going again. He's lost 4.5 seconds, but it didn't look like a mistake. Maybe it was just a horrible misshift, and wouldn't be the first time we've seen that in this race then. It's dropped Alex Coffard back towards John Hurley and Brian Cheney.
Yeah, David, you're right. I just found the incident. He was coming out of Oak Tree and just listening to the car. He just couldn't find a gear. So he just kept rapping and finally found a gear. But my goodness, he has dropped like a rock from the battle he was with Alex Albert and Andrew Fawcett. So unfortunate incident for Coffard. Hopefully he can make some time up and keep out of traffic. But yeah, just couldn't find a gear, David.
I reckon we deserve to have a look at 6th, 7th, and 8th, because Ross Banfield has Benjamin Shout behind. He's just trying to make his way through some traffic there that wasn't 100% expecting him to come through. So Banfield in the PBR car gets his way through. Sorry, Benjamin Shout gets his way through on Ross Banfield. I'm not sure what I'm saying. I must be looking at the wrong spot. I'm looking at a replay.
No, David, you are not incorrect. They just came out of turn.
I was, but they're still going for it. Yes, so
that is correct.
I was calling the wrong part of the action, but action was still happening. So how that 3-car group is right now, what I was seeing was Banfield getting through on David Evans, but now the standings there is Shout, Banfield, and Evans. Now Evans is having a look through at Banfield. This lets Benjamin Shout get away just a little bit. He's having a good race, is the number 19 car, up 5 positions from his grid slot, and really hoping to get away from Ross Banfield and David Evans, I would assume.
Yeah, he really is. And we watched Ross. He survived a few incidents kind of early on, a little bit of bumping and banging, but he's really has made a strong effort. In terms of gaining positions, Nicholas Love behind him in P9 is up 7 positions, and the gain champion, actually, David, I was just getting ready to call that out. He appears to be dropping down the field. So I'm going to have to say Nicholas Love is currently our position gainer right now. And David, let's quickly check in where our pitters are. Our top pitter right now is Bradley Daly. He is our highest pitter, currently running in P12. Behind him, Tom Ellison and Justin Hall. So those are our highest pitters, and they're in a pack of 3 and battling.
Yeah, in fact, what's happening now, Bradley Daly's caught up to Chris Nicely, who hasn't pitted yet, and has the potential to impede Bradley Daly's progress. Same for Thomas Ellison, same for Justin Hall. No requirement for Chris Nicely to get out of the way for Bradley Daly. Sure, they're not technically in a battle, but they're on the same lap, and My goodness, Bradley Daly just overcooks his braking point, gets into the rear of Chris Nicely. Will let him go, but that's cost Daly a lot. He just maybe wasn't expecting the different braking points of the slower car. And that's something he needed to be careful with from pitting early and getting further back into the traffic.
Yeah, I think that was just a classic case of you've got laser focus of that car in front of you, and you just lock in on that car, not necessarily paying attention to your own personal braking point, and just gave Chris Nicely a bit of a shove. We've got a car off just in front of that, David. Is that car for position car number 21?
Gene Sirota is in fact in a battle with Chris Nicely, so he's just lost a position there. Let Chris Nicely through, but Gene Sirota hasn't pitted yet and will continue just running a bit wide, using plenty of the beautiful grass here in Virginia.
Beautiful grass it is, and I have popped myself back up to the battle for P1, and we have Andrew Fawcett and Alex Albert. These guys are still going at it. Unfortunately, Alex Crawford has not gained too much ground back after that very unfortunate misshift incident coming out of Oak Tree. But Andrew Fawcett is pretty much doing the same work as Alex Crawford was doing on Alex Albert. These guys are running some very consistent times. On that last lap, Andrew Fawcett ran a 1:19.4 and Alex Albert with a 1:19.7. Probably a bit of assistance with draft there, but Andrew Fawcett is not letting Alex Albert rest at all.
Yep, exactly. Going to close it up a little bit closer. The gap 4/10, and it's just going down a tiny bit as they approach turn 1. Not going to be close enough for a move, but close enough that Alex Albert needs to be looking in his mirrors, and there's a couple of different lines that they take through that turn 1. Albert turning in earlier, Fawcett going for a later apex, maybe more speed off the corner. It's a luxury that the trailing car has of taking the different lines without being exposed to a potential overtake, a potential move from the car behind.
No, and these cars, you really can't, power out of these corners too much. It's momentum is so important with these cars, and obviously making sure you're hitting your shifts with that peak period. As I kind of mentioned when we unfortunately saw an engine blow early on, but these engines are extremely strong, and ideally you want to wrap these engines to the very top RPM point on here before you shift to make sure you're hitting maximum torque. And also the low end torque on these cars isn't great either, so you want to make sure that momentum is carried. And we've seen Andrew Fawcett get a very good exit right here on Alex Albert. I think he's still a bit too far for any sort of opportunities, but that was a very good exit by Andrew Fawcett. And it looks like lap times again. Andrew Fawcett has again bested Alex Albert on that last lap.
Contact back in the field. I think that was between David Evans and Ross Banfield, potentially. Just happened on the entrance to Oak Tree this lap. And that was a great 4-car battle that was going on back there, but it's now been broken apart by that incident.
Yeah, David, I watched the replay and just got a little bit too tight. Benjamin Shout gave him a bit of a nudge, and then we also lost another car. I could not see who flew off the track there, but so just unfortunate incident. No real big damage, but that was a tough one because I really feel like David Evans may have had the proper line there, but just got a bit of a shove, and he's off track, and he is also now headed into pits.
Yep, going too wide through there, through Oak Tree, all of those places. It's just a risky thing to do. You can make it work if you really trust the driver you're racing, but it's not what I would maybe do at this point in the race.
Yeah, David, I was just getting ready to call out our championship points leader, John D. Allen, has quickly caught up to Justin Hall and Thomas Ellison. So this battle for P10, 11, and 12 has just gotten very significant as John D. Allen and Thomas Ellison, again, that is P1 and P2 in championship points. So this is for the money round. Justin Hall also is in the battle for the points. He is currently in P6 in points with 64, so not too far behind Thomas Ellison in P2. So this is a very important battle we have on screen right now.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting one to watch. 3 cars. Ellison leads Hall, leads Allen. They come through Oak Tree now. using all of the exit available to him is Tom Ellison. Who's got the better run out there? I think John Allen is about to be thinking about sizing up Justin Hall.
I think he is too. He's got a very good run here coming up on the bumper. He is going to look inside, and John D. Allen is going to complete the pass, possibly a two for, Thomas Ellison shuts the door there. Very respectful line by Justin Hall. Knew that John D. Allen had a fantastic run and made a very clean pass by John D. Allen. So John D. Allen is still on a pretty aggressive recovery drive. He's still down 4 spots from where he started in P7. He's now up to P11. He now has Thomas Ellison in his sights, and these guys are running almost identical lap times, David. In fact, Thomas Ellison ran a 19.887, and John D. Allen ran a 19.888 last lap. So these two are on a very similar pace, but now John D. Allen does have in favor of the draft. So let's keep this here, because we know that John D. Allen is hungry.
Yep, and after getting through on Justin Hall, he's wasted no time getting to the back of Tom Ellison. He'll probably do the same, try and set an exit up out of Oak Tree. He goes wide through the first apex to try and bring it back tight through the second apex at the Oak Tree. But for some reason, a bit slow there. He's either missed a shift or had some other problem, because Justin Hall is going to come back through. John Allen, undeterred, gets back in the slipstream. He's going to have to do that work over again.
Yeah, David, I can confirm, listening to the audio of John D. Allen, he did miss a shift there. So just like the snake-bitten second to, I believe, third gear shift that got Alex Cofford, John D. Allen has also been bitten with it with just over 37 minutes
Looking
left.
to the inside of Justin Hall here, though, and Hall is going to let him go. It's not taking him long whatsoever to get that position back. It's an overtake in that turn 4 spot that we, as I've said, don't typically see. So, bold, but Hall giving him the space that he needed. Would you say giving him a Hall pass?
David, that would also be just fine as well. It looks like we have another chance for position. P6 and P7. Benjamin Shout appears to have gotten past Brian Cheney. Cheney is now in the pits.
The pit lane. Yeah, Cheney coming into the pit lane now to get his service done. Add the fuel that he's going to need. Probably 2 to 3 gallons. I would think. Don't have 100% clue about what the consumption's like around here at VIR South. Probably a little bit less than Road Atlanta, probably a little bit less than Sonoma, but not a whole lot different. Maybe a little bit tighter, a little bit wigglier out, and Brian Cheney's going to get those tyres changed. Have a look. Battle for the lead. That's opened up just a little bit further than what it was.
Yeah, it's opened up a little bit more than it was, and I'm really keeping a focus on John D. Allen and Tom Ellison and Justin Hall. Justin Hall has not been deterred by being passed twice by John D. Allen in the last 5 minutes or so. But this group here, now with Bradley Daly in P12, this is a group that have all taken their pit stop. P1 through P8 has not pitted, but P9 and down is predominantly individuals that have pitted. So these guys are going to be our big movers as this race progresses, and definitely worth keeping an eye on, David. So yeah, Alex Albert continues to put a gap on Justin Hall. So some very consistent driving through Alex Albert after his early incident.
Yep, you'd hope Alex Albert would have some gap on Justin Hall when one is first and one is 11th. John Allen got very, very close to the back of Tom Ellison on the entry to Oak Tree. Then lost some of it through the middle of the corner, but he's got a phenomenal exit, and he's coming. Tom Ellison, will he defend? Will he look to the inside? Or will he decide his goose is cooked when John Allen gets there? John Allen, I think, just breathes out of the throttle, brakes a little bit early. We'll try and find another opportunity. Was closing up, but just wasn't quite there at the braking zone for turn 1.
Yeah, he's just not going to do it. And David, I always appreciate you correcting my absolute name butchering and grid misplacements when I am walking through some of these battles on track. But yeah, John D. Allen, I think he really needs to start exploring some opportunities to get past Tom Ellison here for P9. I really feel like he is quicker at this point. And being, the winner of 2 for 2, he is quick. So, but Tom Ellison is no slouch either. But I really feel like John D. Allen does have a bit more pace than Tom Ellison on here. So I think Tom is maybe realized that and being a bit aggressive on his blocking here. But a very good run on John D. Allen coming up to Oak Tree. Oh, and he does a lift. David, I thought he was going to go for it there, but I think this is a bit of a dangerous corner to make a move. So we watch John D. Allen back off, and that puts Justin Hall right back up on the bumper of John D. Allen.
I think Allen was just trying to set up a really strong run out of the exit of Oak Tree, and that's what he did. Late turn in, late apex, throttle open, wide open, and he gets the opportunity to go towards the inside for turn 1. Tom Ellison not moving across to defend that one. So now John Allen to the inside. If he's got the braking right, then this position is his, and it looks like he has. That moves him up into 9th position, and every car ahead of John Allen now has not pitted. So there's a couple of spots he'll probably pick up through that as well. Though he is currently 46 seconds off the lead. Speaking of that lead, Alex Albert stays out, but Andrew Fawcett from 2nd place, he's going to dive it onto the pit lane as we're getting closer now, just a couple laps away from halfway.
Yeah, just a couple laps from halfway, and right now, we've got Andrew Fawcett in the pits. John Hurley has now gained several positions due to these pits. So John Hurley is up now 5 spots, starting from P8 into P3. But our 1-2 is holding strong with Alex Albert and Alex Copper. David, I'm looking down the grid. Oh, and we have Benjamin Schott now also in the pits. So he started in P11 all the way up to P6. He is now in pit lane, and he's going to move down a few spots to that pit lane. So I really think some of these guys are seeing that it is high time to be considering that pit stop.
Yep. Popular place to be, that crowded little pit lane. Only 34 pit stalls available. It's a crowded little pit lane, crowded like a disco, but just 2 cars in there, that won't form too many problems. And the battle, the closest one we've got on track is still John Allen, Tom Ellison, Justin Hall. John Allen's starting to scamper away a little bit, but Tom Ellison and Justin Hall, that looks like it could become a bit of a battle if Tom Ellison gets in a little bit too hot for turns 3A and 3B, maybe get away with it, but they're our closest battle out there right now.
Yeah, they really are, and sector time-wise, these guys are pretty consistent. I really take Sector 1 with a grain of salt due to so much drafting, but Thomas Ellison is besting Justin Hall in Sector 4, but Justin Hall is a bit quicker in Sectors 2 and 3, so we're just going to keep an eye on this. But yeah, I think Tom's nightmares of John D. Allen getting past him and then running away, they are coming true at this point, because John D. Allen is making very quick work of the necessary gap he needs to keep out of that draft right now, and they are already be coming up on some lap traffic here pretty soon, so Tom Ellison may still have some opportunity here, but he needs to keep a close rep on John D. Allen as much as he can. But David, I'm starting to worry about his chances.
Another car just taking their pit service was Ross Banfield, and he comes out behind this train of Allen, Ellison, and Hall, and some margin by that as well. So this is some of the positions we thought they'd pick up as the other cars in front of them pitted. Now only about 6 cars that haven't pitted. That's Albert, Coffard, Hurley, Love, Pettit, Scott Grinnell, and Andrew Shempry. So pitting more popular than not right now, as we're 30 seconds away from the halfway point of this race. And the highest of all your cars that have pitted is Andrew Fawcett. He is 13 or so seconds clear of John Allen. So early pit stop has worked a little bit for John Allen, but it's not gotten him especially close to the race lead just yet. He's going to have to drive the wheels off that thing in the final half of the race if he's going to get that car on the podium.
Yeah, he is. And Andrew Fawcett, he's kind of on an island right now. And dealing with some very difficult lap traffic with car number 18. That is Corey Brown, who unfortunately has taken a spin at the top hairpin there. So very good awareness driving by Andrew Fawcett. But yeah, Fawcett, he's really on an island. He is 24 seconds back from John Hurley. And the next closest car is 9 seconds back. So Fawcett can keep his head on straight. He's going to have himself a very strong finish right now. But he is in P4 where he started. He has completed his pit stop, David, as you mentioned, and Nicholas Love and Andy Pettit behind him have not pitted. So I really would consider those a threat, and I think that island he's on is about to get a bit bigger, which is okay, but doesn't make it too exciting in the car for you.
Yep, certainly. He's got to look ahead at those likes of John Hurley, Alex Coffard, and Alex Albert, and when they pit, how far back does it drop them? Fawcett and most other drivers between 27 and 30 seconds pit lane entry to pit lane exit. So if he's 24 seconds behind John Hurley, that looks like he'll jump him, but he'll probably find himself in third position once again behind Albert and Coffard if they have smooth, clean stops. Nicholas Love, another driver who's decided now is the time for his pit stop.
Yeah, and some very good heads-up driving by Andy Pettit as he Nicholas Love dove in. He made no real indication that he was going in, and he slowed very quickly on track. So very good heads-up driving by Andy Pettit in order to not really tag Nicholas Love taking his pit stop. David, I'm working down the grid here. It looks like Justin Hall has made a bit of a gain on Thomas Ellison. I'm showing these guys are within about 0.6 of each other, and just as I say that, Thomas Ellison pulls away a little bit, and he's gaining it back again. So that appears to be our best battle on track, because these guys are all pretty spread out as we're waiting for that top 3 to pit, which they still have not done.
One thing we are going to see, though, is John Allen's closed up on Andy Pettit, who hasn't pitted yet. It's like a tongue twister there. And John Allen, right, okay, so has pitted. He's not in a race with this car effectively, but on track they are together. Pettit doesn't have to get out of his way. This is another opportunity that could cost John Allen time in the battle that he's trying to wage against the likes of John Hurley, Alex Coffard. As there was another car off the circuit there on the exit of Oak Tree. An easy place to do it, to pick up some understeer through that section and explore the beautiful Virginia countryside. Allen will get to the inside for turn 1. He's going to get through this time. Doesn't want to be held up too long. Very deep on the brakes on the outside is Andy Pettit. Trying to hold it out there. Won't this time. He'll relinquish that position.
Does just a very dominant pass there by John Allen and Andy Pettit. And yeah, David, that was unfortunately, as you called it, coming out of Ochi. That was Corey Brown, again, having a bit of a moment off track. So Corey Brown, big kudos to him for driving tight. He's just having a difficult time keeping all fours on the pavement stuff. And a big moment there with number 5 right there. John Beenan just barely avoided Andy Pettit. So these guys are really having to work through some lap traffic right now. And David, Alex Albert is in the pit.
Yep, exactly. That's what I was going to get to. He was your race leader from and your pole sitter as well. He's on the pit lane now, getting those tires done, getting that fuel in, probably about 3 gallons. And I'm not sure we'll see many other drivers go much longer than this as well as we approach 20 minutes to go. So where does Albert feed back out relative to the likes of John Allen, relative to the likes of Andrew Fawcett? Well, Alex Albert comes out behind Andrew Fawcett, so the undercut, there's a clean air working miracles for Andrew Fawcett, who's now 5 seconds clear of Alex Albert, who had, I'm going to say that was a long stop for Alex Albert. 25 seconds on the box compared to 20 for Andrew Fawcett. Long pit stop has cost Alex Albert the lead.
Yeah, David, that was going to be my comment. Was there an error by Alex Albert in his pit box? Did he accidentally take more tires than he wanted to? Did he accidentally overfill the car? Because, my goodness, that almost 4 additional seconds has put him at a pretty good deficit to Andrew Fawcett, 4 seconds, and that has really put him down quite a few spots now in P4 with 25 minutes left in this race. So Alex Albert has put himself in a very difficult position and quite a lot of track to gain to regain all he lost there in that very slow pit stop.
Yep, and if he's come out behind Fawcett, he'll probably come out behind Coffard and Hurley as well when they pit, presumably rather soon. So costly on the pit lane. It's my understanding that changing all 4 tyres is about 20 seconds, and the amount of fuel you need can be put in that time as well. Don't know what he's done to pick up an extra 5 seconds. If it was an extra 15 seconds, we'd say, speeding on the pit entry. But it's not that. It's just 5 seconds, and those 5 seconds lost in the pit lane, it doesn't feel like a whole lot of time when you're sitting in the box. When you see it out on track, it feels like an eternity. That's a lot of time to have to make up in a spec series like this.
Indeed, and David, we've had an incident with Andy Pettit. He is entered in the top horseshoe, and the car just went straight. It just went straight, and then he hit the tire wall, and he just stayed there. David, I do not know what has happened to Andy Pettit, but he possibly has had a hardware failure because right now he has exited the car, and he is in the pit. So unfortunate for Andy Pettit, who's running in P9.
Get a replay of what happened there. Did he get in too hot and lock the brakes up, or was it just a plain out straight failure? Maybe just locking the brakes, things understeered, and once he was on the grass, just could not get it stopped, couldn't release the brake to get it turned, and couldn't stop it with the steering straight. Nose first into the barrier, and I think he's then decided that's his race done.
That is so unfortunate because he had such a great race ahead of him, and he was racing very competitive tonight. So super disappointed for him, and I'm sure he's just absolutely fuming underneath the helmet. So unfortunately, Andrew Pettit is out of this race. And also, David, I'm trying to recall. I saw one of our favorites, Nicholas Love, who also was racing a very strong race. About 10 minutes ago, he blew an engine and also had to revisit the race. So revisit the pit lane. So unfortunately, we have one car or 2 cars that have taken 2 pit stops, and Nicholas Love, unfortunately, is another victim of popping an engine here at VIR tonight.
Coffard from the lead comes into the pit lane. John Hurley stays out to be one of the few cars that haven't pitted yet. John Hurley, I had a feeling, was starting to close in a little bit on Alex Coffard, and has there been a problem out there for John Allen? He's dropping down my timing screen. He's in the pit lane for the 2nd time. Let's have a look at what on earth has gone on there for John Allen, your championship leader.
David, I'm watching the replay right now. David, he has popped an engine as well. Oh my goodness, this is the third engine we have seen. He was coming down to this final horseshoe. Yeah, David, and just overshifted. I think that was a possible incident where he went all the way into first, but that engine is done for John D. Allen. My goodness, is the door wide open for Thomas Ellison right now, who is working his way up the field currently in P5. Wow.
Yep, and if John Allen had already taken his fast repair at his first pit stop, I think he had, then it's going to be a long service to replace that engine. That is basically... He might still get back out on the track, but that's basically day done for John Allen and his hopes of taking a good points haul away from this round. Unfortunately, dare I say it, going up in smoke.
David, you did say it, but what is not up in smoke is Alex Albert and Alex Cofford. These two are back in a battle, and we know Alex Cofford is looking for redemption with that early on misshift, and we are entering his corner of fate from last time. Hopefully he can get the shift right and keep Alex Albert behind him, and he does. But Alex Albert also gets a fantastic run. So, wow, this is big championship implications for this race, David, with, again, John D. Allen. Unfortunately, fast repair is done, and he is probably done for the day. But we're watching Alex Albert right now, who is P3 in points, looking to take an opportunity on Cofford. He dives in very late on the brakes. Can he do it? He has done it. Looking for the over-under. Cofford can't do it. Makes it stick. What a great pass by Alex Albert.
Alex Albert, fastest lap of the race last time, 1 minute 18.7. I think there was just a little bit of cloud cover out there as well. Track's cooled off tiniest bit from the race start, but that's not to take away from how hard Alex Albert's been charging to try and make up those 5 seconds he lost in the pit stop. John Hurley comes into the pit lane, and I'm expecting he'll probably come out pretty near these guys. So you battle for the podium, you battle for the top 4. Very, very close. Just behind these guys, Tom Ellis and Justin Hall battling. It's all happening at the pointy end of the field in the final third of the race. I really want to see where John Hurley comes out.
Yeah, Andrew Fawcett, he is rounding Oak Tree right now. Hurley has been in the pit lane for 24 seconds. That is a full stop for everybody else. David, he is going very long.
What is he doing? And normally a stop should be 20 seconds. It's now been 40 seconds. John Hurley is in the pit lane and not showing any signs of leaving it. Is there a problem? This was his first pit stop. He should still have a fast repair if he had any other problems. So he had something else go on. It's John Hurley now a minute stationary in the box, dropping down the order, 7th, 8th, all these cars going past him. What has happened to John Hurley?
David, your guess is as good as mine. At this point with this car, you know, he's done taking fuel. He's done taking tires. I can only assume some sort of technical glitch has occurred here.
He had an excursion out through the grass. Looked like no steering whatsoever for a bit. And he's managed to bring it back onto pit lane. Has he cut too much of the circuit and been penalized for that? Your guess is as good as mine, but he's still stationary in his pit box, and a very, very weird in-lap for John Hurley. Blow his engine?
My goodness, David, I don't know what the issue is, but he is about to go a lap down, and that is pretty much John Hurley's race right there. So I hope he didn't get a DQ, David. I think that may be the only speculation we can make at this point, is he may have cut the course and didn't properly serve that. He may be done for the race in terms of a disqualification, but wow, that is unfortunate. Well, that leads us to our best battle on track, and that is for P2 and P3 with Alex Albert and Alex Cofford, as these guys continue to battle it out with just under 18 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, Albert getting past Coffard earlier, but not being able to blaze away that gap around 0.6 of a second. Andrew Fawcett is 2.5 seconds ahead of these guys in the lead of the race, but lost a second to them on the last lap. So Albert and Coffard are closing in Andrew Fawcett, who had a pretty quick pit stop, a good undercut, but now the pressure is going to start to ramp up because his lead was 2.5 seconds. It's now 2.4, continues to slowly be eroded by Alex Albert and Alex Coffard.
Yeah, David, let's stay in this battle because this is of high importance, but I want to give another shout-out and another confidence boost to our booth favorite, Mr. Scott Grunnell. He is now in P10, David. He started in the last part of the field, had an incident at the beginning, took his fast repair, and he's worked his way all the way back up. He is now up to P10, up 13 positions. So another fantastic recovery, second effort recovery drive by Scott Grunnell in the car number 55.
Alex Albert and Alex Coffard now got a lapped car between them and Andrew Fawcett. So, and indeed, that lap car gets right out of the way by locking up and missing turn 3. And a very cautious rejoin, respect that, so they get out of the way. And I'm hearing from John Hurley, he ran out of fuel, and then when he got it to the pit lane, it wouldn't fuel for some reason. So ran out of fuel, and then some problem with his pit crew, and that's taken John Hurley from a potential podium, a potential win, to basically a retirement from this race.
That is just gutting to hear, especially with such a fantastic drive he had put in front of himself and put himself in a fantastic position. You know, he started in P8, he'd worked himself all the way up to P1, really had an opportunity to make a podium drive out of this and maybe even a win. But my goodness, that is really tough. And David, looks like Bradley Daly is in the pit lane right now. David, is that his first? Oh, that is his second pit stop for Bradley Daly. He is in again. What has occurred here?
Well, I guess we'll take a look. There's, I think, new damage on the front left of that car. That is indeed the case. So through turn, the fish hook, I think, is gone off track, maybe clouted a barrier. He was in a battle with Nicholas Love, I think. I don't know if we've got a replay of this one, but yeah, Bradley Daly just getting in too hard to the fish hook, and he's blown the motor on a downshift, I think. Yeah, not into the wall, blowing the motor on a downshift.
Yeah, David, that's what I saw too. So I am deeply regretting my comment of talking about these Mazda engines being absolutely bulletproof, because, wow, we have seen a lot of mischief tonight, and these guys just throwing rods through the top of the hood. Lots of big blow-ups tonight. So unfortunate for Bradley Daly. Again, another driver that had really had a very strong drive tonight. Unfortunately popped an engine, and I'm guessing if he was a bit aggressive with his fast repair for his first pit stop, David, judging by the time in the pits, he is probably done for the race as well.
Yep, you get one fast repair, I think, and you don't know how bad you need it until you haven't got it. Alex Coffard, meanwhile, is dropping down the order like a stone. Not through the order, but he's lost 5 seconds. Yes, he's on the pit lane now, so problems for Alex Coffard at the same time as Alex Albert has now closed up the lead to Andrew Fawcett. High drama in the top three. Aaron, would you maybe have a look at what's happened to Alex Coffard?
David, you're not going to believe this, but he has blown an engine. Alex Coffard has also blown an engine, David. He did it at the hairpin there. He pulled off, again, another driver. I hope they did not take their fast repair, but if he did that, David, he is done for the day. And judging by the time in the pit lane, it looks like Alex Coffard is also... Oh, wait, I take that back, David. He could still be towing, but we're going to keep a very close eye on this pit stop. But my goodness, another engine done tonight.
Yeah, we're actually going to keep a really close eye on the battle for the lead, because what was 2.5 seconds not long ago is now 2/10 for the lead. Andrew Fawcett, Alex Albert. Albert goes to the inside. Fawcett a little bit earlier on the brakes. Does Albert get it stopped and turned? I think he does. Fawcett comes back for the late apex, gets the throttle open a little bit earlier. After a slow pit stop, Alex Albert is back to the lead of the race. And all these dramas for the likes of Hurley, the likes of Coffard, that's elevated the Ellison Hall battle that's been going on all race. That's now the battle for the last spot on the podium. Remember when it was the battle for 12th? Good old days.
Good old days indeed. And I just did a quick check of Alex Albert's lap times. And David, he has been the quickest car on track consistently. He's been doing high 18s, which everybody else is consistently doing 19s and 20s right now, with the level of grip on the track and getting all greased up. And Alex Albert is just driving out of his mind right now with some very quick laps in the 18s. And right now, if he can continue this pace, he is going to maintain his dominance over Andrew Fawcett with just under 12 minutes left in this race. And right as I say that, we see Andrew Fawcett get a very good run out of Oak Tree.
Yeah, indeed he does. Will he try and make an overtake, or will he lift out? He's going to try to make the pass back on Alex Albert. So if you're confused because they look the same, well, that was Fawcett trying to go to the right-hand side, trying to go to the inside in the 94 car. And the 337 is Alex Albert. Albert holds on to the race lead for now. Fawcett losing a little bit of time through that maneuver. Still just giving Alex Albert something to think about. And with those lap times, Aaron, you got to wonder if Alex Albert hadn't gone off the track on lap 1, if he hadn't had the longer pit stop, how far away and clear would he be over this field?
My goodness, I don't want to speculate too far, but just with the pace almost a full second quicker than the remainder of the field over his nearest competitors, Andrew Fawcett and Thomas Ellison, I want to say he'd almost be 5 to 6 seconds clear of the rest of the field at this point, with just under 10 minutes left. But as you see right now, he's trying to make up for some very, very lost time with that very slow pit stop. I think we still need to keep a close eye on Alex Albert. He made a mistake early in that Oak Tree, and I think he's probably still thinking about that. So Andrew Fawcett probably hoping for a mistake from Alex Albert, because I just don't know if he has the pace. And unfortunately, Fawcett has damage as well, and that's not going to help him aerodynamically through these long straights.
From 5th place, Ross Banfield is back on the pit lane. Any guesses what might necessitate a second pit stop, Aaron?
Has he hit a bird? Does he need a snack, David? I'm not entirely sure what would have happened.
Hungry. Well, he's come into turn 1, he's made a downshift, and he's popped the motor. Is this place cursed for Mazda inline 4 motors?
I don't want to say it because I don't wish that upon anyone else for the remainder of this race, but I don't want to rule it out, as I think these guys are driving extremely hard at this point, and hitting those downshifts is a requirement in order to properly swivel the car and make a corner exit. But David, we have a whole handful of cars with 2 pit stops right now. Andrew Fawcett running in P6 is the highest running 2-stopper, and behind that in P10, David Evans and Nicholas Love are also 2-stoppers. So let's hope anybody else out there who may pop a motor, they've got themselves a fast repair, because I think we may see a few more before we're done tonight.
We were looking at the lead battle earlier, but there's plenty of battles that have reappeared down the field. I'm thinking about 7th place. Chris Nicely's just gotten past Scott Grinnell. Behind them, it's a great battle between Will Robbins and David Evans for 9th and 10th place. And I think Evans is one of those 2-stoppers, like you mentioned. He's caught up to Will Robbins, who has had less drama. I think that's a move, an overtake that could potentially happen soon, with just 9 laps to go now. So have a look at David Evans.
Yeah, I'm going down to David Evans as well. He's just a very strong drive tonight. As you said, he's up to P10, up to P10. He's reclaimed P10 where he started. Will Robbins has a very strong and, dare I say, quiet drive tonight, up to P11, starting at P16 tonight. So very strong race. And David, I want to quickly move up to P7 and P8. Scott Grinnell, who is the master recovery driver, up 15 positions. He is now fighting with Chris Nicely for that P7 spot.
Have a look at that one. And yeah, that is indeed a very close battle between Nicely and Scott Grinnell. Both of these guys, just the one pit stop, staying out of most of the trouble. And Scott Grinnell from the back of the grid, now in 8th place and looking at grabbing 7th.
Yeah, and he gets a very good run out of Oak Tree right there, and he's going to look for another pass today, which is going to give him 16 positions. I don't think he's going to have enough runway to make this pass, but David, he may be feeling bold with 7 minutes left, and I think he is. Who's going to win the late-breaking battle? Great breaking point by Scott right there in a very clean pass, and he's taken it from Chris. Oh, and it goes wide, so he's going to give it right back. So not quite a victory for Scott Grinnell there, but he's going to try and remain side by side. No, he's going to pull back for this very difficult side-by-side section. But wow, what a drive by Scott Grinnell tonight.
Yeah, couldn't quite get that pass done. He came from a little bit back, though. He rang up the post office, asked them if they had any stamps, and then he licked them all. And unfortunately, it didn't quite send, but he'll live another day. No damage to the car, and he's still right there in that battle. Now, any other battles taking your interest? Because there's plenty for us to look at right now in the closing stages of this race. Ellison Hall is a fantastic battle, but I'm watching for Andrew Fawcett. He is looking to potentially put a move on Alex Albert again with 5 laps to go in this race. He's got another very good run out of Oak Tree. He's going to take another opportunity. He takes a peek. No, he does not look to make the move. He's going to stay behind Alex Albert. So Andrew Fawcett still looking for an opportunity to make a move on Alex Albert. We're very close to this race. Let's go back to Justin Hall and Thomas Ellison here. Looks like Hall is not quite getting the run he's going to want off of here with this move. So very contested spots for P1 and P2 and P3 and P4, David, with just over 4 laps left in this race. It's a 3-car battle, 9th, 10th, and 11th. We talked about it earlier. Will Robbins is going to have a look on the Pink Panther car that got through earlier, and he holds the door open for the blue car. That's Nicholas Love, who's in the background there as well. They're going to go side by side. Be careful, David Evans, Will Robbins. You've got David Evans at your rear quarter. They're side by side on the turn-in for turn 3 there. It's a difficult corner, unsighted at the best of times. Too wide would be a challenge there, and as these two fight, behind them, Nicholas Love is just trying to size them up in the last 5 minutes, move himself into the top 10 potentially. Danger, Will Robbins.
Danger, Will Robbins, indeed. David, I'm going to check some quick lap times here on Will Robbins. I'm just so impressed with his effort tonight. Yeah, David, he has run minute 20 laps. He's run minute 23, minute 27, minute 24, minute 23. This is some of the most consistent driving we have seen all night, and we're seeing a very anxious David Evans behind him. So Will Robbins is not shaken by any of the moves and the pressure by David Evans. So what a drive tonight, but I really feel he may end up losing a spot due to a very good run by David Evans on the front stretch here.
Evans and Love are very, very quick, but Will Robbins is being consistent, not making it easy for them to pass. But Evans will get to the inside this time, break it deep in his black and pink car. And Nicholas Love behind doesn't quite know what to do about it. Will Robbins will drop back that position. Now he's got to run back. I don't think David Evans will let him have it. Evans defends the inside through the infield section here. Nicholas Love taking some unconventional lines behind, killing his momentum and his chance at taking a peek at Will Robbins. David Evans might finally have that move done on Will Robbins. Will Nicholas Love be next?
I just don't know, because Will Robbins, he can keep this drive next to David Evans, who appears to be a bit more anxious behind the wheel, a bit more shaky than Will Robbins. Nicholas Love, also a very good drive tonight. He is at 5 positions, starting in P16. But Will Robbins has been the hungriest of this group here, up 7 spots, starting in P10. David, I'm still keeping a very remote eye on the battle between Andrew Fawcett and Alex Albert, and nothing has really changed up here. Andrew Fawcett continues to be very strong in the final sector and getting a very good run, but he just cannot get up there tight enough on Alex Albert, and Alex Albert continues to be stronger in sectors 1 and 2.
Yeah, indeed. That gap continues to be just around half a second, but our battle 9th, 10th, and 11th, this 3-car battle, after 57 minutes of running, this is a good one. David Evans, I don't know, maybe can put a quick lap together, but just not as consistent as the likes of Will Robbins, who's still right there, and Nicholas Love, who also just can't seem to put a run together to keep some momentum. And of course, this is a car where you have a bad corner, it'll cost you, and it'll just hurt you the whole way down the next straight.
Indeed, and let's Dave, with just 2 laps left here, let's keep our eye on Alex Albert and Andrew Fawcett as they are about to hit some lap traffic. Alex Albert having to make a very aggressive move into turn 1. Andrew Fawcett also making a very aggressive move to get by the car number 16 this is car 18 of Corey Brown. So looks like Alex Albert has one more car in front of him to deal with some lap traffic. So with just over 1.5 laps left, that car may cause some issues. I'm trying to see what car that is up here, David, but he's going to have to be driving in his rearview mirror to make sure he does not interfere with this final, potentially very close battle for the top spot on the podium.
Yeah, Will Robbins got himself past David Evans just then as well. So Nicholas Love is also having a look. These three just shuffling positions, and we will look back at the leaders and at the top 3 in a little bit. I can't take my eyes off this battle for just right now. Well, actually, we will go back to your race leader, Alex Albert, because he's about to take the white flag of round 3 of the ChampCar Sim Series at Virginia International Raceway South Course. From pole, had some foibles, but just quick on pace, no unrecoverable dramas. He's now 0.6 clear of Andrew Fawcett. Coming into turn 1, he's only got 2.6 kilometers left to go, however many miles that would be. So Alex Albert leading on the final lap.
Yeah, David, and I just don't know, unless Andrew Fawcett can pull a hypothetical rabbit out of the hat. I just don't know if he's going to have any opportunities to make a move on Alex Albert here. He just is not quite close enough. We are approaching the section where Andrew Fawcett is quicker than Alex Albert. He has put himself within half a second here. That lap car doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. And David, are we confirmed that we are on the white flag lap? I'm trying to confirm that, and I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 seconds left on the clock. So they've gone through South Bend. They're going through Oak Tree. And a little bit of a slide for Alex Albert. He'll still hold on to it. He'll come out of the final corner, and barring any misshifts, checkered flag is in the air for Alex Albert. He is your winner. Round 3, ChampCar Sim Series from VIR South. Andrew Fawcett, very well done, up 2 spots for second place. Behind them, it's going to be Tom Ellison and Justin Hall coming to the line in not too long.
Yeah, David, and I've got my eye on your favorite battle of P10 and P11, Nicholas Levin and David Evans. This battle has cooled off just a little bit, but it also looks like Benjamin Shout. Yeah, it looks like everybody is finishing up here, David. So it looks like battles have cooled off on the track, and everybody is...
Yeah, a slow lap. Last time by 1 minute 25 from Benjamin Shout, and Alex Coffert has got through. Might have been a mistake from Shout, or he might be, heaven forbid, running out of fuel on the final lap. That's easy to do.
Yeah, David, I'm trying to scan back to see what may have happened here. I think you may be correct on potential fuel issues. He did take a normal stop time, but maybe a bit aggressive on the pedal. So, wow, David, what a race tonight. We saw a little bit of everything, but my goodness, the story of the evening is everybody popping motors left and right.
Yeah, certainly a good time to be a Mazda mechanic if you are looking for a second job. It's clearly the tight, twisting nature of this circuit. A lot of guys trying to get it down to second gear, use the engine braking to help the car rotate. It's only so much you can do that. You put too many revs through it and bang, they go. So we'll have a look at your finishing order. Everyone's crossed the line now, and your winner, Alex Albert. Second place, Andrew Fawcett. Third is Thomas Ellison. Fourth, Justin Hall. Fifth, Alex Coffard. Sixth, Benjamin Shout. Seventh, Chris Knisley. 8, Scott Grinnell from the last spot on the grid. 9th, Will Robbins. And 10th, Nicholas Love.
Yeah, great job by that top 10 there, group. We've got David Evans, P11. Jean Sirota up 10 spots to P12. Fantastic job by Jean Sirota. Andrew Schembri, P13. Tyler James, P14. Jacob Bean, P16. Oh, excuse me, P15. David Hendry, P16. Ross Banfield, P17. David Daly, P18. John Hurley, P19. Andy Pettit, P20. Filling out our final group here, John Allen, P21, Corey Brown, P22, and Brian Cheney, P23. Again, very difficult night for John D. Allen. Finished 17 laps down, and he was our points leader, David, but that is not going to be the case after tonight.
Yep, this is absolutely shaking it up for the moment. Of course, with 15 rounds in this championship and 4 drop weeks, that's not necessarily the end of John Allen's campaign, but if he has to miss any other races for other commitments later in the season, that will definitely put a damper on his chances, and Alex Albert can be happy with taking the win. What we might do now is go see if we can grab a word with any of those drivers. I will find... Well, I don't see why we shouldn't start with Alex Albert. So our race winner, we've got him here in the commentary box now. Alex, not an easy race for you, but in the end you prevail. Tell us, first of all, I've got to know, what happened with the longer pit stop?
Yeah, so last week in the practice race, I didn't take tires, but this race, I just really felt like the tire wear was starting to affect me. And so I thought I could, I had time. I thought I'd built enough of a gap to take the tires, but just before my pit entry, I had a little bit of an off there in Oak Tree. Almost got on the wall, lost about 5 seconds. That ended up being the difference that let Fawcett get by and get the lead. So then I had to drive pretty hard to make those tires worth it,
Exactly, and losing some positions on the first lap after starting from pole position, that must have been a little bit hair-raising for you. That must have been a little bit stressful to find yourself back in fourth position after trying so hard to qualify it.
Yeah, there was 3 times tonight that I almost ended up in the fence where I've actually been in the fence in real life before. And there on turn lap 1, my pit-in lap that I already mentioned, and then on the last lap, I almost ran wide. I thought I was going to throw it all the way in the last turn. But yeah, you're right. It was a little frustrating, but I knew I had good pace, and I feel really comfortable here. So I felt like if I just hunkered down, ran my race, it was still early enough, I felt like I could get back up there and fight with the boys.
And a win's always good, and I'm sure you don't celebrate misfortune for your rivals, but points leader John D. Allen finishing 21st place after some dramas for him that surely blows the championship wide open for you, and it gives you a little bit more hope.
Yeah, I would say, we'll have to wait and see when the points come out tomorrow where we're at. But, we did all we could, got maximum points, and feel really good about the season. Felt good about this track, and felt really good to get the pole. And then some of those laps I was putting in, chasing down Fawcett, it was really rewarding. I had to do laps faster than qualifying, one after the next. I don't know if you guys were tracking them, but, really, really whipping it.
And it's a track that holds a little bit of significance for you, maybe?
Yeah, this is where I got my first wheel-to-wheel action in real life. And I'll tell you what, it was scary the first time on track. But the second time I got out there, it was a lot better. And this track is rather intimidating with the downhill. You need to be hard on the throttle, and it's not natural. So, I think maybe that gave me a little bit of an advantage here.
And I'll give you an opportunity now to thank anyone you want to thank, shout out anyone you might like to.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my grandfather, Howard Mahaffey. He's not feeling well right now, so dedicate this win to him. And thanks all the boys at the HJ Motorsport. Congratulations to Tom and Andrew. We got a podium sweep tonight. That's the first one of the season, and hopefully the first of many. So congrats to them.
Right, well, congratulations to you, and I hope we'll see you again at the next round.
Oh, for sure. Thanks again for all you do. Thanks, David.
Well, we grabbed ourselves the second place finisher, Andrew Fawcett. And Andrew, great pit strategy, good work out there, but just not quick enough on the track to hold on to the win.
Yeah, I knew that Alex was quicker than me, and once I kind of lost his draft and saw some lap traffic up ahead, I thought I'd dive in the pits and see if I could make the undercut work, and it did for a little bit, but Alex was just way too fast for me to keep behind me.
Tell us about this circuit, because obviously it's got some pretty tight corners. It's got a different flow than the tracks we've been at earlier in the season, like Road Atlanta, like Sonoma Raceway. Well, what makes this track different? What makes it challenging? Because we saw a lot of troubles out there for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, a lot of these corners are tight and have difficult apexes to find, and I noticed a lot of guys having troubles with blown engines, so we kind of backed the pace off there with about 10 to go, just because we were a little worried about downshift into second. There's a lot of second gear corners around here, and we were just a little worried about blowing the engines. So I think that's one of the main factors, was just a lot of the slower corners.
And talking about the championship, second place finish here, a lot of rounds still to go, 11 more races. Do you think if you can just keep putting it on the podium that it'll be an opportunity for you, or how do you see this championship?
We'll see how it goes. I'm always trying my hardest every race, and I try for a podium. That's kind of my goal every race. We'll see, depending on who shows up. But you never know what's going to happen in these races, and it's a long championship with lots of drop weeks, so anything.
Yep, indeed. Well, congratulations to you, second place. Real quick, any thanks?
Yeah, just thanks to the guys back at the shop for building us fast race cars. And thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. You guys always do a a lot of good work here, and I enjoy watching the HJB.
And thank you for what you do for the broadcast. Doesn't necessarily go unnoticed. Your work on the intro video and your work on the lap guide as well. So thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Those are fun to make.
We'll move on to our final podium position. And Aaron, you've got Tom Ellison.
I am very lucky to have our P3 finisher tonight, Tom Ellison, coming all the way from 9th to work his way all the way back up. Tom, talk us through your race. Maybe not the qualifying position you wanted tonight, but my goodness, you cannot argue with a P3 finish. Talk us through your night.
Yeah, hi guys. So difficult race. This is definitely not my favorite track. As my qualifying performance illustrated, I'm never really comfortable here, never really quick here, and it's just a tough place for me. I don't really get in the flow around here, but on the back of that, I saw that everyone was very, very close in front of me. I think fourth through 9th was separated by maybe 0.2 of a second on the grid. So I decided to take the lap 1 pit strat, fill it up, and then hooked up with John and Justin and tried to run some clean laps. Didn't quite go to plan. We had a few adventures with some traffic and with each other. But yeah, then after that, just a case of putting my head down and got lucky with some attrition as well. I think I saw a few blown engines. I feel sorry for Cofford. He was driving a great race. And John, of course, as well. But then towards the end, Justin, right behind me the entire way, he drove a great race. But I was lucky enough to hold him off and complete the podium.
Yeah, Tom, you mentioned, unfortunately, championship leader John D. Allen did blow a motor early in this race, which a very opportunistic thing for you tonight. But talk us through what was causing so many of these blown motors. Andrew Fawcett mentioned that there was some second gear corners here, which was potentially leading to some of those issues. How careful did you have to be in order to not pop a motor here?
It was challenging, certainly. So very technical course, some slow corners, fish hook, which is the one that comes back onto the to the main track at the S's. Very off camber, very technical, and you have to shift down from 4th to 2nd there. I think that's where John blew his, just because the shift, you have to match the revs very carefully on the downshift to make sure you don't blow your engine. And likewise through Oak Tree, you go from 4th to 3rd through the first part and then break in a straight line down to 2nd just before you turn in to settle the car and to carry the speed through, and then you upshift in the exit. What I was doing was just using 3rd through there. I wasn't at the pace of the front runners anyway, and I was scared that if I was a little bit unsure on my downshift, I'd end up blowing an engine, so I was just staying in 3rd through there and just trying to be smooth and carry the speed through as possible. But yeah, a lot of people seem to have issues with that tonight. Lucky for me, but feel sorry for those guys.
Well, Tom, congratulations on your P3 finish tonight. We are all extremely anxious to see how the championship points kind of suss out with Alex Albert taking the win and you taking a P3 tonight. I think this championship fight just got a lot more interesting. So any shout-outs or thanks before you leave the booth tonight?
Absolutely. So congrats to Alex, first of all, for the win. He drove a great race. I know he's had a bit of a difficult week, so tremendous win for him. I'm really happy for him. And Fawcett as well drove a great race. So thank you to him. Thank you to you guys for all the work you do in the booth. I can't tell you how valuable this is for a growing series to have such great technical support of the stream. And thank you to all the Hoojass team members who are such a good, important part of my life.
Thank you, Tom. We'll enjoy your victory. Enjoy your P3 celebration tonight. And David, that is our podium. And wow, some very interesting feedback from all the drivers. And basically, it just sounds like don't pop a motor, drive hard, and you're going to finish well. So wow, what a race we watched tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Really shakes up the championship. John Allen had won the first 2 rounds of the Atlantic Division, and now his winning streak comes to an end. Alex Albert will presumably become the points leader in the championship. Tom Ellison might stay second. Alex Coffard could also move up potentially. And I hope the winning streak doesn't come to an end in the Pacific Division later. That's what I've got my fingers crossed for. I think that just about wraps up all of our coverage of round 3 of the 2019 ChampCar Sim Series. Planning to broadcast every race this season, so if you enjoyed this race, please do subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'd love to have you. And in the next round, we're going to Daytona. Famous track. Love it. And it'll be very interesting in these cars because the slipstream, my goodness, the slipstream, Aaron.
It's going to be and feel NASCAR-like with these guys. We're going to see some very interesting trains going up and down some of those NASCAR corners, and these guys are going to have to be responsible with some bump drafting because we're going to see some, and my goodness, we hope we don't see a big one like you sometimes see in NASCAR, but I think we're going to have just as much fun calling that race as we did this one tonight.
Yeah, precisely. Plenty of chance for the likes of John Hurley, John Allen, and any other championship contenders to arrive and switch the pendulum back the other way. So please join us for that one. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm David Haynes. Alongside me was Aaron Thacker, and doing all the hard work that often gets overlooked, Michael Derby. Thank you for your work. And until next time, good night.